So this was task 1 from the Niviuk Fly Wide Open. As you can see, it's a bit of a downwinder. There was a northeasterly kind of wind, so all the way down to the Greek border. I took off nice and early, about an hour and 15 before the gate opened. Just faffing around, getting a bit high, but then after hitting cloud base, it got really low. Sort of back to the height of the takeoff again, so then I sort of pushed around where the other pilots were, and it seemed like everyone was sort of struggling, but eventually, you're just looking around, finding where the other people are going up. Unfortunately, it makes it hard to core the thermal as much, but, you're overall getting up. So luckily, about 5 minutes before the start, managed to get a climb back up to base. So then I push away so I can get inside the cylinder, because it was an exit cylinder. And then I turn back around, watching my start, like the start time. And I actually managed to cross over the start gate within a second of it opening. And because it said that I did it okay on my instrument, but I wasn't sure, so I turned back around just to make sure. So I speed up when I'm on glide, just following the clouds, basically, following the other pilots. You can see they really stick out when there's a really good thermal. So at this point, not using the ground at all, just looking at all the other pilots, who's going up, who's not. At this point, everyone sort of started pushing into the flats, because we had to hit that turn point, which they put more in the flatlands, and just jumping from cloud to cloud, trying to pick the best lines on glide, seeing where people are sinking and going up, as always. And then when thermaling, it's just trying to be really efficient. So there's quite a few times where, we were just in like a 1 meter up or something, and I'd shout to everyone, come on, let's go, because it's actually just worth ignoring until we hit something a bit bigger, especially when we're this high up. So at this point, I think it's where I get a bit sick of it and start pushing forwards. It's in the thermaling where people get the real advantage, I'd say. The people that can climb better and faster, even if you're on a bit of a slower wing. Obviously, I'm on a B wing and I'm surrounded by all these photons and stuff, so just by trying to climb as efficient as possible and managing to keep up. But then on glide, they're absolutely battering me. But it's nice here. I'm with my friend Martin, who was flying with me for quite a while. It's always nice to bump into a familiar face and say hello as we're going. He's there on that the white codex. So we get a decent climb here over the horseshoe, which is like a horseshoe shape in the middle of the flats. And here I'm pushing back towards Bittler, which is the town on the right, which is where the next turn point is sort of around. At this point, a lot of other people pushed right in towards the mountains onto the edge. And I started to, because I saw them over that little lump of a hill right on the screen now, and they were getting an absolute mega climb, but by which point I was already sort of too far out of the way, basically. So I would have had to have turned and gone back on myself by like 600 meters, so it kind of forced me to keep going on. And I only had about 1 or 2 people in front of me here, so you can see, but they're quite low. So I hit the turn point, but then suddenly I divert to go towards this village. So I aimed between the village and the cloud, and that was sort of the lowest I got on the task today. But luckily that was a climb, but I was certain I was going down at that point, so it was just a last ditch effort. I lost quite a bit of time here. You can see on the track a couple of other guys found a liftier line just on the right, but the people that went really deep onto the mountains really struggled, and it slowed them right down, which then enabled me, once I got this climb, just to sort of really push on. I was only sort of turning if it was like a 2 meter or above, and at the moment it didn't quite say that I had the right glides to get to goal, and you can see the sky is completely blue in front of me, so I knew that I needed it was going to be a bit sinky, not super lifty, and most of the time it was fine, so I was just pumping the bar. But actually, every so often, my actual glide would be less than the glide it needed to go to goal. So that's when I started panicking a bit. But because it was sort of downwind, I didn't need to be on bar the whole time to get as far as possible. So I was kind of just putting it on and off, depending if I was in sinking air or not. But yeah, there was quite a strong easterly at this point, so the people coming from the mountains also had a bit of a headwind. But then, yeah, I made it to the speed of the end of speed section, so then I could just nice and smoothly get over the landing field and come in. And try not to take out Adam on the way. And yeah, here was the scene at the end in the landing field. And then while I was flying with Martin earlier, he took this photo of me, which I thought was pretty cool. Anyway, nice one.